Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me all well. I trust everyone is keeping safe and warm during these unprecedented chilly times that we find ourselves in. We're just waiting for some last people to join.
I think let's get going, Harry.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. Thank you again for everybody for joining and taking the time. I know you guys are very busy, so we do appreciate the time taken to join us on this virtual session and how we can help you build a path to becoming an autonomous digital enterprise through our leading global orchestration and automation platform. A couple of house rules before we dive into the session. We will be muting all participants just to limit the potential disturbances. And if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to type them in the chat box provided, and we'll get to these either during the session or at the end, depending on time. We will be recording the session and provide you with the link as well as the copy of the presentation, just in case you miss any of the juicy important bits. We have a great lineup. So if I can just ask the guys just to move to the agenda slide. Thanks. So we've got a great lineup of specific topics that we want to cover today. Kicking off with our BlueTurtle Technologies IT optimization head, Simon Shaw. We'll be giving you a quick intro into the BlueTurtle ControlM team. And he'll share with you a high-level view of the synergy between BlueTurtle as well as between BlueTurtle and BMC, pretty much around the different challenges or how we address the different challenges in the industry that we see today. And then we'll hand over to our MEA Regional Business Manager, Ahmed Jamjum. We'll introduce to you the BMC team and give you some context around the autonomous digital enterprise vision from BMC. Javier Lana will then take you through ControlM's SaaS or new SaaS Helix solution. And that'll be followed by our two knowledgeable technical gurus, Humayun Mohammed and Wojciech Zaramba. We'll talk to you around the rise of DataOps and the ever-resilient DevOps capabilities within ControlM. And then we'll have Maya Goran giving us a view into the current roadmap and a glimpse into what we can expect from a new feature perspective within ControlM in up-and-coming releases. We'll then close off with some Q&A. We'll provide you with a feedback link where you'll be able to add any comments around the session. Any questions that we have remaining, we'll get to those for you as well. And we'll close off from there. So without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to our BlueTurtle Technologies, Simon Shaw, who will take you through the introduction. Thanks.
Thanks, Harry, for that. Morning, everybody, and welcome. And thank you very much for taking the time out to join us. I won't go through each individual person on there, but in essence, this is the team from a BlueTurtle perspective. We've got our technical specialists, Harry, who's just been speaking as product manager, myself, who heads up our business unit, our ITO business unit, and then Rex from an account management point of view. So for those that don't know us on the call, and I'm sure our details will be shared at the end, please reach out to us if you would like any questions off the back of this or have any specific ControlM requirements. Then Harry's your guy, ably backed by the rest of us. If Harry irritates you or makes you angry, then you can call me. But other than that, I generally stay out of the day-to-day operational point of view and work with you guys on your strategies and any potential issues and things that you have. So yeah, welcome and thanks very much for taking the time to join us. I think Harry mentioned the BlueTurtle BMC relationship. We've been working with BMC for over 20 years now. We traditionally came from the service management space, but automation and ControlM has been something we've been doing for the last 20 odd years with BMC. We have strong relationships within their team. We have a strong team that's locally that support you as customers, and I think a lot of you who are already BMC customers, ControlM customers with BlueTurtle and BMC can attest to that. And we look to continue to drive excellence through that and continue to remain relevant, understanding what's happening, and doing these kind of sessions so that you as our customers can understand what the roadmap is and what people are doing in the automation space and with ControlM specifically. So the slide just talks about what we do and how we do it, and we needless to say, the standard things apply. So we want to help you innovate, we want to help you to reduce risk and cost, and we want to make sure that we continue to deliver the best possible service to you in the automation and specifically ControlM space. So thank you all very much for joining, and I look forward to meeting with you all individually, either on Teams or face to face, hopefully in the very near future. I'm halfway through my vaccination schedule, so as soon as it's all done, we'll definitely be coming and trying to have coffees and start face to face meetings again. So thank you, and then please enjoy today. I think
thanks,
over to, is it to you, Harry? Okay, thanks. Cheers.
Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it. Right, so then we'll move on to BMC. Ahmed Jamjum will take you through the BMC team, as mentioned previously. I'll hand over to Jamjum. Morning, Jamjum.
Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you all for attending today. Nice to see you all on this session, and I hope you find this session fruitful, as the team mentioned. If we could proceed to the next slide, Harry. Okay. We'd like to start by taking you, I would say, 30,000 feet high, tell you where BMC is heading as a company, what's our strategy and our vision. So BMC has worked with a number of analysts and large enterprises and consulting firms to do a large survey in the past 2 years and capture feedback from the customers of where they are heading, how they will look like in 2025, 5 years from now. So we've worked extensively over the past years, a couple of years on that. And the conclusion of that large survey is that we learn from the enterprises by interviewing the different enterprises in the C-suite, is that the common theme that we heard is that by 2025, every company in the world will be technology driven, and companies that are not tech driven at all of its lines of business and the way they deliver the products or services will kind of struggle to compete. So when we asked about the top 5, the top things or the top reasons why these companies want to become technology driven, we captured 3 common themes or 3 common outcomes that the enterprises aspire to have, which are in the middle of this slide. They are the agility, the customer centricity, and having actionable insights. These are the 3 things that most of the customers have provided us and the analyst firms we work with. We looked at the common themes and the common, let me say, characteristics across these companies, and we came out with the messaging with the name Autonomous Digital Enterprise. What we felt is that everything that these companies talk about are leading to this phrase, the Autonomous Digital Enterprise, where they aspire to become agile, customer-centric, and have actionable insights. And in order to achieve the Autonomous Digital Enterprise, we found 5 operating model characteristics that, again, we came up with in cooperation with these companies in 5 technology areas, technology tenants. The operating model characteristics are in the middle part, the blue part. I'm not going to go through them in details now. We can share with you slides about them. I'd like to focus on the technology areas where we are playing, let me say, or we're relevant. Of course, these are 5 big technology areas, and just to clarify something, the messaging here is not that BMC cover all these 5 technology tenants end-to-end or providing solutions. BMC provides the use cases, and BMC is going the direction to develop use cases that can support you in these 5 technology tenants or areas. Our companies like BlueTurtle have many use cases and skill sets to support you in this autonomous digital enterprise journey and support you in these 5 technology tenants by making sure that they can help you mature them. The 5 areas are the automation anywhere, everywhere, where in the automation everywhere, we're talking about introducing automation to every line of, to every part of the business, whether the different departments, HR, finance, sales, marketing, IT itself, all the way you deliver your products or services. So ensuring that you have automation everywhere, and this is of course very relevant to today's session. The second one is the data-driven business, where again, we talked about actionable insights. You need to ensure that your business generates data at, again, every line of business and in every interaction, whether internal or external. And again, today's session with ControlM is relevant. There is relevance to the data-driven business. The enterprise DevOps, again, we said the enterprise becoming tech-driven, meaning technology is available at every line of business. And if you have technology at every line of business, this technology is not static. It changes, it's dynamic, the environment evolves. So you need DevOps, not just for the traditional software development and just IT. You need DevOps for every technology that you have in your enterprise. Then again, ControlM today has relevance to DevOps, so we're going to talk about that. The other last 2 tenants is the transcendent customer experience, and we have use cases contributing to that. And then the adaptive cybersecurity, where we also have a few use cases that are very interesting. So that was our enterprise autonomous digital enterprise messaging. If we could proceed to the next slide, please. Now, coming into ControlM and its history and relevance to today's world, we mentioned how it's relevant to the 3 areas in the autonomous digital enterprise, which are the automation everywhere, the data-driven business, and the enterprise DevOps. ControlM as a solution, it started many years ago, maybe 30 to 40 years ago. It started as a scheduling solution when there were a lot of mainframe environments and most of the computing was centralized and the data was primarily based on files and applications where we can say monolithic. Then as the environment evolves and serving clients started to be introduced with a distributed environment world, the databases, the data shifted to become data started to run on databases, and we started to have the client server architecture. And again, we evolved ControlM to support in this journey. Then after that, the virtualization came, where the environment became more flexible. We started to have more structured data. We started to have web cloud and mobile. And recently, we started to see software-defined infrastructure and ephemeral environments, where we find a lot of unstructured data, no longer just structured. Agile applications are being developed, and this is what we call the digital world. And if you please can play out the slide, if you look at the journey of our solution, it evolved at all of these journeys. So we started doing batch processing, we started then doing job scheduling, then we started doing the workload automation, which is the definition that Gartner came out with, and recently the digital business automation. And there's also a very interesting Gartner market guide talking about the recent evolution of our technology, or the category of our technology. We highly recommend reading it, and we can share with you that article. It's an article that came out on April 2020. So that's the evolution of our technology. And really, one of the purposes of today's session is to tell you how our technology is relevant to the old world, but also how is it more relevant to the new world with all these changes. So with that, we talked about applications becoming agile and applications becoming and data becoming having unstructured and structured data and a lot of data. If you look at today's world, we say it's an application-centric world. in the past, there was a lot of spend. What we also saw from understanding or researching enterprises and all that. In the past, historically there was a lot of spend on infrastructure at customers. So customers were building data centers, were spending a lot of money on computing units such as either mainframe or building large data centers and all of their underlying infra and facilities and all of that. And also spending on operations such as monitoring, patching, capacity, all the different operations to operate the data center and its component. And then at the end, spending a little less historically on application, which is really why they built the whole underlying components and or infrastructure and why they're operating it. Okay. So that's the past. And then there is also less spend on the data that this application has. In today's world, if you look at it, there's a big shift. The infrastructure is becoming a commodity. You can get it as a service from a local hoster or from cloud providers such as Amazon, AWS, Google, or SaaS providers like Salesforce or even BMC now with BMC Helix. So the infrastructure is a commodity that you get it as a service or you get it as part of a PaaS or a SaaS. The operations is still at the same spend. You still need to do monitoring, you still need to do patching, you still do these different kind of operation, but it's just kind of slightly changed in the way that the operation is running. The biggest spend or focus of the enterprises is the applications. And we are focused to do things on applications as much as we can. So the applications is what really can monetize, can bring revenue for your business, bring value to your customers, and of course the data that sits on these applications. And that's why we're positioning ControlM in the digital business automation world to focus on application and do application workflows. So that's the key focus area for us, and of course the data that runs between these different applications. If we proceed to the next slide, please. So in this application-centric world, again, if we take the same story from and we zoom in a bit into the actual environment, what actually happens from a people and technology and process point of view. We spoke about the past. We spoke about customers having mainframe, doing things centralized, having a lot of batch processing on these mainframe. This was done historically by a few set of admins, maybe a mainframe admin and a few set of admins. They fulfill a lot of batch jobs or batch processing on mainframe to fulfill processes such as the ones on the right. So on daily basis, you would find an organization, for example, a bank would have something like the end of day close or a monthly close or a weekly close to update their accounting and their general ledger. They would have, this primarily runs on a centralized mainframe and components around the mainframe. But as technology evolved, as we spoke in the past, with the distributed world, this became running on a set of applications or databases that run on a number of set of servers. So you had to have something like the end of day close process running now, instead of running on 90% on a mainframe, today's could be running on 60 or 70 servers. And there are different stages for such a process. If you think about billing in telco, it's the same thing. Billing could have pre-billing, main billing, and a post-billing, where each run on different set of components. Now, in the application-centric world, a lot of these things does not happen on a OS, let me say, or an application built in-house on OS. It could be on a vendor-provided application like SAP or Oracle. And if you please play the slide, what happens is with digitization, the more you digitize your processes, okay, the more you make processes based on technology. Like, for example, if an insurance company was doing insurance claim manually via paperwork and now they digitized it, then they are introducing more technology. And if you're introducing more technology, then you're introducing more individuals to do niche operations or run niche tasks on daily basis on these technologies. And the more you introduce your digitized process, the more typically the complexity increases. If today you're shifting to containerization, you will find a lot of complexity to run. It brings a lot of value, obviously, but a lot of complexity. If you're using public cloud or services from Amazon, like Amazon Lambda or S3, you're going to find also that you require a lot of skill set or specific skill sets, and you're going to find complexity in running all that operation and running such processes on these diverse set of technology. We call this the application workflow challenge. And with ControlM, if we play the slide, you can see that ControlM is the single technology that is the glue that can connect all these different technology and fulfill the processes on the right side. This is an example, of course. We have use cases for different industry, many use cases is just a sample. But we fulfill such a processes, automated, scheduled, if it's a scheduled basis or based on an event based or scheduled basis, and we fulfill it end to end across these technology. And we give the teams on the left side the full visibility and the data, let's say the operational dashboard and the data they need to make sure these services or processes fulfilled. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, I think with that, we'll hand over to Wojciech. I think you will.
Yes, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Wojciech.
Yeah, thank you. I'm stepping in because Javi is on PTO, so on vacation. So I am a technical person, so I will be speaking a little bit more technical than probably Javier will do it. So let's move to the next slide and let me try to handle this this case. Okay, so what is ControlM Helix? This is about all about the availability of the platform. It means that this platform means ControlM platform. We move it to SaaS solution, and we have taken care. We move it to the cloud, and we have taken care of the running for the customers. The main two components means enterprise server, enterprise manager, and the ControlM server, and we take this as our service. So the customers that wants to use ControlM as a service are welcome to do it right now, and the only thing that needed to be, let's say, connected, provided to the customer environment are what I call the hands of ControlM, means the agents. And what it gives to the customers, it means that the platform is already available. So from the moment of providing you a tenant to a login, it means that the platform is running. So this is always available. This is always there. We have created this such that most of the components are distributed around the world. So even if you are on the other part of the world, AWS, because this stands in AWS, is providing you with the data close to the place where you're reaching this. We have made it, as I said, highly available. We have incorporated most of the features that you have on ControlM on-premise. But let's move to the next slide so we can talk about this a little bit more. ControlM SaaS is not fully a one-to-one transfer from the ControlM on-premise, and we just didn't take the on-premise solution and put it into a containers and run it in the cloud. We have changed the mindset, and we agree that some features we need to approach some features completely differently. Yeah. So we spoke with many customers that are already existing customers or will be customers very soon, as with trying to understand what is critical for them and what is really important for them. So in one let's say solution, one service, you can plan, and we'll speak about this thing in a second. So you can plan, so you can create your workflows, create your jobs, and thank you, and create your jobs, create your workflows in a visual way. You can, this is similar. So what is on ControlM on-prem, but this is only through the web browser right now. So because this is right now a standard. Yeah, go back, please go back. Go back the slide. Yeah, so this is only with a web browser. What else you can do in the planning? All of the features, the core features, the gold standard features of ControlM are available. So it means that you can create the job types here. You can set up, when it's run, what events does it wait for, what will happen when the jobs will finish or not finish, or will be an error. Just a standard automation space attributes and features, but as well we make it easier for people to export and import, like collaborate, from this tool to source controls tools or any other place where you would like to export your jobs to. Why it is important? When we speak, when we think about, that developers like to write a code, this is not fully true. Right now, the code is written by a different types of people. The code, what I said, the code means the programs, something that other applications are doing, and one of those applications is ControlM. And if you are a data scientist, that you are processing your files, you're running a lot of different file movements, you would like to visualize, lots of people like to visualize where in the process orchestration I will have, where I will put my job, after which job will finish. And, it's sometimes for some people, it's hard to do it in the code. So that's why this is not, just writing a code is not only the stuff that they are keen on. So we have the visual stuff. If we go to monitoring, so please move to the next slide. It means that we can have a customized view like we have on the standard ControlM, as well. All of the features that are operational, that are required by the operations team are of course available on this view. On this view as well, we have the view of the services, so we can move or we can combine workflows into the services. So we have a SLA management built-in, which is one of the core gold standard capabilities of ControlM. If we can move next one, yeah. We have integrated the file transfer management. It means that each agent, so the hands of ControlM, can be a file transfer server and agent and client. So each of the agents can communicate with other servers or can act as the servers and transfer the files. And with all of the good features of ControlM that we support, all of the standards that are a common standards. This will also be extended in the next few months because we will be extending the support for the MFT to fully integrate with all of the cloud vendors, just natively. And what I wanted to add here is that we have a different view for file transfers. So this is something that that some people are not aware of, is that when we have file transfers in the automation space, one job can transfer many files. So if I'm, for example, syncing, I'm trying to synchronize two folders, from one side to another side, and it can be, thousands of files in this synchronization, and I might lose the visibility of where is my file, because I'm looking for one file from this folder because it is critical for my next processing. So we have created a special view, which is which we see right now on the screen, and using this view we can understand what is happening to the file, and then from this view we can easily go back to the job, the workflow that was actually doing the transfer, and we can take a decision of what to do next. Excuse me. Let's move on. We didn't forget, not only file transfers are important. All of the integrations that we have on ControlM, including application integrator applications, are moved to ControlM SaaS. So, and this is out of the box, and this is just like you're not paying for integrating with any other, integrations that you need. Yeah. Let's move on. If it goes to how to let's say use a ControlM Helix. This is about how do you communicate with the system, yeah? And of course we have a web browser. There was a question about the web browser. I will have a look at this thing in a moment. We have the web browser. I mentioned about the business service view, which is the one on the right bottom view. As well, we are, for many years right now, ControlM, we can communicate with ControlM using API. We call this API automation API, and we have two methods of communicating. One by REST calls and REST API services, and using the command line interface. And on this slide, this is stated that we can import and export JSONs from ControlM. JSONs as a text structure represents the jobs, the workflows that are created inside ControlM, or in any other object like calendars, rules, and many others. But think about that. This is not only the limitation of this API. This whole API is open for all of the operation stuff. So if you would like to have the communication, like okay, what is the status of my jobs? I would like to use automated CI/CD pipeline. I would like to use our company-wide self-service portal like ITSM solution and integrate it with ControlM. This is all done using the automation API, and this is all available. And each customer, each tenant has its own endpoint for the API. And this endpoint, just to, I said I was technical, is protected by AWS API gateway. So you cannot kill ControlM having a DDoS attacks on the API. So because this will not work, it will be killed by the AWS API gateway, and it will not affect the work within the ControlM. Yeah, and I'm just looking at the slides. How many slides I have? Okay, let's move on. How do you get the tenant and how do you onboard? Yeah, please move on. When you apply, when you sign for a new tenant, you are sent a welcome email. So when you sign in and you change the first time, they require you to change the password. By the way, we can integrate with a single sign-on solutions, and you are guided to run your first job. Yes, so you're guided by ControlM SaaS. So you will ask they'll provide you with the information how to set up an agent, how to do a plugin like MFT or any other, or a database or any other plugins. They'll show you how to create a job and how to monitor a job. This is all built in the tenant. There's like there's a tutorial and there's like a guided tour that will help you to do and achieve the steps, easily. From my own experience is that from starting to running the first job, it can take about 15 minutes. That's maximum what I did the demo, and I'm happy to do such a demo for you. If we yeah, let's move on. Yeah, okay. I've talked about this one. Let's move on. And the availability and the maintenance. Yeah, we are planning 99.95 availability. It means we are planning a maximum of 4 hours of unplanned downtime per year. This will be, of course, notified, and it will be agreed with the customer, to agree on the time when to do it. This is just to replace the containers, and we just say 4 hours. Actually, probably it will be less than that. Yeah, this is just like we needed to do some. Sometimes it's needed to do some maintenance. Yeah, here. There's a tenant status web page that's called a trust page, so trust.controlm.com, and each tenant has its own unique ID, and then we can understand how many tenants are on and what are the status of those. This is automatically updated. The SLA support time are the standard BMC times, so this is I think this is for priority 1. This is maximum of 1 hour of the time. I think yeah, let's move on. I'm just looking at this the slides here. As I said, I'm stepping in as Javi is not here. So as I said, we have already the customers that are using ControlM Helix, so a SaaS solution from many different sectors, and so I encourage you to have a try. We can give you as a demo of the system, and if you let's move on. And if you are a ControlM customer or any other scheduler customer, you can convert from ControlM from these other solutions to ControlM. It will be on premise or in the SaaS. It doesn't matter for us. Yeah. So we have a free conversion tool. Our conversion team and as well, BlueTurtle can help you with the conversion. And this is all free to customers to use. Yeah. So thank you, and Humayun, back to you.
Thanks, Wojciech. Sorry, Humayun, just before we carry on there, we've got a question in the chat there, specifically around the web UI, and from a functionality point of view, the question is, does the web UI currently have the same features as the on-prem GUI? So if we want to quickly answer that.
Yeah, I didn't answer that. Sorry. That's it depends on Gavin what the version you are using. Yeah, if you're using version 20, then it's the same interface. And if you can, maybe unmute yourself and tell what is the why it is not fully functional. What is missing?
So it's mostly in the planning function that the web UI just for complex job chains doesn't, for me, feel like it does the job. And I end up going back to the GUI, and we are on 920. You're
920, okay. So I think it must be what I can say from a technical point of view. This is working, and maybe the way of working with a ControlM interface is different than with the other tools. So that's why you might feel that this is like not fully intuitive or something like that. But if it gets, I'm happy to organize a call with you and the R&D, the guys that designed the GUI, to understand what can be fixed. Yeah, because we have a separate. By the way, this is a global BMC GUI team that is designing because if you know other BMC products, they start right now looking the same. So we are happy to understand, how we can help, yeah, how we can change it to make it, more user friendly.
Perfect. Thanks, Kevin. Sorry, Wojciech. Kevin, we'll drive that with you just to get your expectation, so we can drive something that will obviously meet your requirements going forward there. Perfect. Thanks, Armand. I think over to you around the DataOps and the DevOps. I'll hand back to you.
Thank you, Harry. Can you hear me? Am I perfectly
loud and clear?
Loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Humayun Mohammed. Most of you might have already know me from previous sessions or direct interaction in South Africa. So I'll just walk you through the importance of ControlM in the space of DataOps and DevOps, right? So DataOps exerts control over your workflow and processes, eliminating numerous obstacles that prevent your data organization from achieving, let's say, high levels of productivity and quality. We basically call this elapsed time between the proposal of a new idea or a new development and the deployment of the finished article, or let's say analytics cycle time. And based on our exposure to so many enterprises of different industry verticals around the globe, we see that any organization may require months of cycle time to deploy, let's say, 20 lines, mere 20 lines of SQL. Lengthy cycle times primarily discourage and disappoint users, and they have the capacity to hinder creativity within an organization. So ideally, if we look at a perfect world, data teams should be able to work hand in hand with their users, like a well-oiled machine with everything available, fielding new idea proposals, implementing them rapidly, quickly iterating towards higher quality models and analytics. However, real world scenario, unfortunately, our experience is the opposite. Data teams are constantly interrupted by different sources of data, different types of data, analytical errors, so on and so forth. General utilization of a data scientist, usual time is 75%, just massaging the data and executing manual steps, or looking at these scripts that they have created in order to let's say, stitch different technologies in order to generate the expected analytical results. Slow, error-prone development disappoints, frustrates, data team members, operations, and other stakeholders in the business line who want these data ops teams to produce the results, as of yesterday, based on the analytics and based on the requirement that is given by the business line. So, I mean, in smaller words, data ops, as it may seem, or let's say as it promotes itself, still has in this age and time some kind of challenges, and those challenges generally what we have noticed is revolves around the orchestration of different stages to generate the right result. In the next slide, I will talk about that. So, I mean, we talk about the innovation of technology. We all know the importance of data, of course. Now, when we look at the data-driven business, Tenant, in every company today, in every organization, every enterprise, no matter what the industry vertical, it is becoming very important. The goal, actionable insights. Some have been successful, others have struggles or still struggling. Reality is most big data workflows are immensely complex, and delivering these big data or analytical projects at enterprise scale sometimes becomes too expensive, and they're not fast enough. So these projects generally, if we can break down the different stages of let's say a analytical based project where result is supposed to be produced based on different sources of the data. So first and foremost, we look at the ingestion of data. Then the storage of data comes in, all the way to processing and then delivering the insight. So looking at each stage of this, consider this as a workflow, right? Because it is a workflow at the end of the day. It is a combination of different steps, different processes, different points and different technologies that are working hand in hand, or let's say should work hand in hand, to gather the data, massage the data, prune the data, store it somewhere, whether it may be a staging area or maybe a permanent data warehouse, process that data, and then deliver the insight. Okay. However, the complexity, the last mile, or let's say the end point, is moving the data output to systems that provide the analytics, right? So you have all those three stages first and foremost, where the ingestion happens, storing is happening, processing is happening, but the most important stage, which basically the people who are waiting for the results are concerned, is delivering these insights. The layer which basically allows you to project meaningful results to the people who are non-technical, maybe business lines, marketing people, requiring market forecast based on, let's say, last month's activities or product pushouts. At the end of the day, this is what we're talking about, that you may be able to generate hundreds of reports with in-house based scripting, stitching of these different technologies with each other in order to generate this analytics. But when we talk about production at scale, and that's really what is happening these days in large telcos, large financial institutes, that they cannot rely on these homegrown, non-standardized operational, methods that basically allow data engineers or data scientists to work on different sources of data and then create programs to read them, massage them, produce results, and then operational people to also understand, several different points that the data is coming from, and monitoring hundreds and thousands of processes in order to make sure that the reports that are requested by the business line are delivered on time and correctly, right? So that's where ControlM comes into the play. Again, the same message, the same concept. It's simplifying your complex data pipelines. It is the abstraction layer to just, allow you to have any persona, any organization have total control to understand how your data pipeline for a particular, let's say, data project is being run. Whether the data is being sourced properly, whether the data is being manipulated properly, changed, adapted to, processed, stored, and then whether it is being able to be given to the analytical tools when and how it is required in order to generate the result. In simpler words, I would say stop stitching together all these data management tools with custom scripts and point integrations. For data and ops team who are really serious about end-to-end control and visibility of their pipelines, are serious about self-service automation, container-based workloads, which is the case today, ControlM is the answer. Now, this is probably most of you already know about it, but just to take the message a little bit further and build the ground, ControlM not only is capable of triggering or automating, let's say, or executing cross-platform, cross-application, cross-technology-based workflows, but also maintains the organization's governance and compliance, data security, auditing requirements, providing comprehensive and accurate service level monitoring, allowing you to forecast around the orchestrated application workflows. Now, when we talk about orchestrating the application workflows, these include the data pipeline workflows as well. So it has also the capacity to not just automate the schedules based on calendars, days, work days, holidays, but it has the capability to provide orchestration based on events. So on the top, you see time-driven, event-driven, file-driven, or simply ad hoc, meaning request comes through and you would like to log on to ControlM based on your particular criteria of user role. You will land on a certain page, which is quite intuitive, and then you can trigger a particular workflow or a stream of jobs to, let's say, produce the result that you're looking for. Apart from the above, it also allows the business users to interact with the system with least technical knowledge to execute whatever kind of workload or request-based executions of processes that their particular, let's say, business process might require. They can do it through the browser of any browser-enabled device, logging onto the web-enabled ControlM interface. Moving on. Of course, we spoke about the data ops, right? The second thing, which is related to data ops as well, but this particular area, or let's say methodology, is across the board in any organization. When we talk about agility, when we talk about shifting left, when we talk about having the ability to have all of the different organizations, teams, all the way from business line, the requesters, to the developers, to the implementers, and to the monitors, which are the operations team, to work hand in hand and not to feel disconnected from a process that might, from a process that needs to be developed and then deployed into production. And that's where, again, ControlM plays its role, because in earlier days, I used to be, let's say, years and years back, I used to be a scheduler. That's where the journey started. So of course, we were isolated, right? We were part of the operations, or let's say the production team, but we were quite isolated from development. Development used to do all their script development, so on and so forth. We wouldn't know what's underlying the what do you call it, the bonnet, and they would just come and give us, this is the time, this is the dependency, you have to fire this script, which basically what used to entail, let's say, longer time to repair when the error used to come, because you would basically try to find the particular person or the particular team who was responsible in the development area. But then, agility came in, and, every single tool out there or the method of development changed from having, team foundation server in place, working as a single project for a new development and production, having automated deployments of, developed database SQLs, or let's say programs. So along the same line, ControlM also developed itself. ControlM now has, it has already for a couple of years an automation API, which allows you to enable ControlM to be part of your CI/CD pipeline. So whatever kind of workflow or jobs or processes that your development has received as a request from business line to be developed in ControlM, it is quite clear and transparent to the operations team as to what is being developed and what needs to be deployed. So the same language is now being spoken all the way from application developers to operational staff. And then ControlM also provides you the change management with its plugin called Workload Change Manager, which again, as I said, is developed based on the methodologies of DevOps and having a full CI/CD pipeline in place. So ControlM is not left out, or let's say the application workflow development within ControlM is not different to any other application development within your organization. With that, I will now come to customer success stories. As Harry said, that if you have any questions, please post them in the window and we will do our best to answer them. Harry, am I good to go forward? Is there any question?
Yeah, all good for now. Thanks, Aman. We can carry on.
All right. So a couple of success stories, very good success stories around our, large customers. Itaú Unibanco is one of the largest financial conglomerates in the Southern Hemisphere and the 10th largest bank in the world. It has over 100,000 employees, 4,000 branches, thousands and thousands of ATMs, serving a global customer base. What we are doing over there is basically primarily ControlM is the bank's primary, let's say, automation platform, processing over 14 million jobs per month. And these 14 million, if you can imagine a bank this size, a financial institute this size, we're basically touching each and every aspect of the processes that basically run this bank, from development, from applications, from credit cards, from end of day analytics, generating reports, market analysis, risk management, so on and so forth. So we have a video. Without further ado, I'll basically play. We just wanted today's session to be a little bit, multimedia oriented as well. So I'll leave you to it. Harry, just let me know once if you can hear the sound on the video, please.
Yeah, all good.
Itaú is a very huge bank in Brazil. Since we had the fusion with Unibanco, it's a new company and a very, very strong company. We have a very huge opportunity to be more efficient. We have a very huge transformation in our systems and applications, looking for automation and to provide a new experience to the client. I think that the most exciting thing that we are doing now is to change the way that we deal with our clients. They don't like to go to the branch. They like to have the branch inside the pocket. To open an account through the app in the iPhone, we take a picture, a selfie, and you take a picture of your documents in the app. And this app provides you an account. We are opening almost 10% of our accounts through this manner. ControlM is enabling the app. All this data, all these accounts that we open are batch processed, and we can do that without ControlM. ControlM is a very, very, very important tool that we have. If ControlM stops, the bank stops. We're trying to put everything in the apps. Everything. We are truly putting the client in the center. I think that the agenda that BMC has with their clients and the strategy that we are looking for to be more efficient, to be more agile, to be more available to the client is the same that BMC has.
Harry, how are we doing on time?
We're on the hour mark. Half an
All
hour
right.
left.
Okay, so I think I'll just cover one more case study, and then I'll hand it over to my colleague Maya for a rundown on the product management. So Navistar, another leading manufacturer of commercial trucks, buses, defense vehicles, so on and so forth. What we do over there is primarily integrate with one of their on-command connection remote diagnostic system, which basically allows Navistar to do predictive maintenance of their vehicles which are on the ground before they shut down or before any of their parts goes faulty. This primarily basically what it does is it reduces the downtime these different vehicles are to get, which in return saves a lot of revenue, or let's say generates a lot of revenue, or saves a lot of cost on maintenance. How it's done, again, it is part data pipeline story. which allowed Navistar to utilize ControlM to generate actionable insights 5 times faster. You know, a lot of data records. Part of this story is also IoT. So you can imagine that it's not just based on, let's say, a typical data source, but all of these intelligent devices that we have today in the market. ControlM has the ability to even talk to these applications, gather data from these applications, extract it, process it, and then produce actionable insights.
I work for Navistar International. We make trucks, engines, and school buses. So the customer base from Navistar is really the fleet owners of our vehicles, the dealers that sell service parts for those customers. You know, we're a legacy company, been around for a long time. So we're trying to become a data-driven organization, both in the business as well as IT. ControlM is our enterprise scheduling software across all the platforms at Navistar. There's sensors on all of our vehicles. We're acquiring all of that data, marrying it up with parts inventory at our PDCs, at our dealerships, driver behavior metrics, part information relative to cost, supplier information, all compiled into a analytics platform. We're collecting data from over 250,000 vehicles in the field today, 20+ million records daily that we're inputting into our big data platform, all using ControlM. With all the data we've collected, we've reduced vehicle downtime by upwards of 40% for our fleet customers, and it's all positive.
Thanks, Aman. Thanks, Aman. Before we let you go, we've got a question pertaining to one of the integration conversations that you were having now around the DevOps from Rashad. He wants to know, part of BMC's plan around easy integrations into services and apps. You mentioned that there's an integration factory. Can you elaborate a little bit more around that, please?
So I will talk about integration factory. So if you can bear with me like a few minutes, I will cover it in my presentation.
Perfect. Thanks, Maya.
All right, great. So Maya, over to you. Just let me know when to switch to the next slide.
Yeah, you can. Okay, that's perfect. Do we have the disclaimer, or it's not there?
It's not there. Do you want me to put it up?
Please.
Okay, 1 second, please.
Okay. Meanwhile, while you're bringing it up, before I get started, I always like to give, this forum and in general customers and prospects much of the credit for our roadmap content. As a product management, I think that we do a pretty good job of listening to your needs, either through this session, phone discussions, surveys. Previously, before the COVID-19, we had a lot of on-site visits, and we really encourage you to continue and to provide feedback. So if you see anything from the ideas that I will present today, if you have any use case to share or to contribute, please reach out to your account manager, and he or she for sure can help setting up a call with the relevant product manager. So all I need you to see that disclaimer that
Mike, is it possible can you share your screen right away? Do you have the sets? Because I can't seem to find the disclaimer for some reason.
Let me see if I have it. Just a minute. Let me organize it.
Okay, I found it. It's okay. I'll put it up on the screen now. There you go.
Okay, so the disclaimer, we have this disclaimer every discussion. And the reason that we have this disclaimer is because in terms of timeline, we are now toward a V21. In terms of development, we are on the end of the second cycle out of 3 data plan for development of V21. And you know that as always, some things can still change, and this is the reason why we're emphasized that this content, you know, is not final until the fat lady sings. So just a regular notice, and it's important that you will see it. So let's start. So can we move forward, please? Great. So when we are planning our roadmap, and this is a process that we're doing every time and ongoing, and we are planning it bottom up and top down. So bottom up means that we hear you, we meet you, we got your enhancements request, so we can see everything that is needed from the field. We are of course listening to the trends, and we are learning, and we also have some strategy themes that we want to achieve, and through the presentation that I will have today, I will go through each one of the themes. So let's start with the great user experience. Thank you. So I saw the questions about the user experience, and I think that this is ongoing effort since V19. We are continuing the migration to the web, including many infrastructure improvements, like, for example, the Angular upgrade. So I can mention that now we are busy with Angular upgrade of the application integrator and the file exchange on the MFT. And this is really ongoing and very intensive effort that we're investing. So on V21, we plan to have agent maintenance, which is currently on CCM or in the local agent for Helix ControlM. And here I'm referring to the agent debug, so the ability to set the debug level, diagnostic or communication level, agent diagnostic data, collect usage measurements, logs, and configuration to a compressed file. We'll have a partially folder management. We have some usability redesign around the planning, multiple enhancements in usability and performance. We have terminology change. So as Wojciech mentioned, we now have SLA instead of bin. And of course, we have the JSON import and export to and from the web UI. Next slide, please. So around applications and integrations, we have a really massive investment. The first one is Airflow Wrapper. This is a lot came from you. You wanted the ability to trigger and monitor Airflow DAGs within ControlM. So this is something that is planned for V21. With the integration factory that you asked and mentioned, there are several things that is going on. First, the integration factory is based on the same infrastructure you have as a customer and as a prospect, which is application integrator. So we had a lot of complaints of why don't you build the integrations that you're making in application integrator, because as customers, we're facing so many challenges, and we want you to understand which challenges we're facing. So we heard you, and this is exactly the direction that we took. So we are building now the integrations based on application integrator, and along the way, we are improving the infrastructure, we are improving the UI, we are improving the authentication, the authorization, the security, we're improving everything that we see that needs to be improved and enhanced in order to support all these services and these integrations. So I can tell you that, for example, with AWS Glue and ADF, which I hope that will be evident as native integrations around October timeframe. So we had many challenges, and we are currently testing in the last phases of testing these integrations, and we saw that, for example, the SIG4 authentication is missing in order to complete the AWS authentication. So so we have added this support to application integrator, and of course along the way, for example, GCP now, we are trying to build integrations to Dataflow, to BigQuery, to GCP functions, and we see many things that are missing, and we intend to complete all the missing functionality toward V21. So we'll have also the ability to create native integrations for GCP. So on application integrator and integration factory, what we plan to deliver in the next few months is ADF, Glue, UiPath, Databricks, Informatica BDM, Dataflow, GCP function. And I can tell you that in parallel to the supported integration, we have started a new project in GitHub, which is open for all of you. So each one of you that want to contribute in integration that was written and is working can for sure contribute an integration to GitHub. So if you have one, please share it with me, and I will give you the exact guidelines how to contribute. So currently you will see in GitHub ADF, you will see Glue, you will see Dataflow, and you will see functions, and you're welcome to use these integrations, but you need to understand that this is not fully supported by BMC. It's like contributed integration. So there is a difference between integration supported, like Integration Factory, which are supported like any other native plugin, like SAP, like Hadoop, okay? And the two first are planned for October, and we're starting with ADF and Glue. And instead of the community that we had in the past, the community page, we are shifting now to GitHub, and in GitHub, you can consume now the ADF and the AWS Glue. You can consume also the Dataflow, and you will be able to consume soon the ones that I've mentioned. Okay, I didn't finish. Please go one slide back. Thank you. Okay, so so this is regarding the integration. One more thing that is very important for me to mention is the decoupling. So because we want to have the ability to provide you the integrations regardless to any release cadence, we are working also on decoupling application integrator from application pack. So this is something that again will be evident on V21, and you will be able to consume this integration regardless to any release. Okay, of course you have to be on
Lost audio there.
Maya, we lost you.
Apologies, everyone. We seem to have lost a little bit of audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear, Maya. I think you've gone again. While we try to get Maya back, another question from Rashad is around documentation. Are there any documents that we can?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so just share the presentation, and I will continue from another device. Is it okay?
Sure. In
Okay.
the meantime, we'll answer one of the questions from Rashad. So Rashad asked if there is any documentation that you can refer to around best practices around hooking up ControlM Automation API behind their API gateways. Humayun, I don't know if you want to answer that.
I will answer that. This is Wojciech speaking. We have an example on the GitHub page, and actually we are in the process of creating this type of a best practice document about the API gateway. So I'm happy to help you to work with you on implementation, because putting the API behind the API gateway is just not, it is actually a simple technical solution, but it does not solve all of the technical problems that you might find when you have the API storm or any other like big traffic solution. So I'm happy, and we can use the connection with a BlueTurtle to have a quick meeting, and I'll explain you what are the challenges, and then we can work together with implementation at your side.
Perfect. Thanks, Wojciech.
Okay. Can I continue? Can you hear me well?
That's much better.
Okay. Okay. So regardless to the decoupling, we have some enhancement regarding the SAP plugins. And again, this is something that came from customers. So we are adding the ability to support SAP router to enable SAP on the cloud. And we're doing like better stress testing for SAP. And we will add also the import calendars via CLI. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next theme is move your data, and here we are referring to MFT and MFT Enterprise. So with MFT, I think that Wojciech already mentioned it. So we have the ability now to support file transfer to Azure Blob, and this again will be supported started from FixSpec 2. We have customers that already tested this feature in a beta program. So any customer that want to work with Azure Blob, this is available today and will be officially available on FixSpec 2. In addition, the team is working now on the third cloud vendor on GCP, and we'll have the same support that we have for AWS and Blob. We have the same support for Google Cloud Storage, and I think that with that, we made quite a very impressive milestone with MFT, including all the file transfer options that are supported with which one of these cloud provider. With MFT Enterprise, we are going to a major rewrite of the file exchange for business partner. This is going to be on a new Angular and a new look and feel, including white labeling of the file exchange interfaces. You will have the ability to put your logo or your background images, so you'll be able to externalize, your organization identity to your partner. We are handling also security issues under the file exchange, including user locking and password policy for business partners. We are going to add multiple uploads in addition to the download and the delete that is available today. And the upload will be also folder upload. I think that it's a very good enhancement. The forward proxy support is available today, and a multi-site of high availability environment under a single EM will be added also. Okay, so this is for MFT. Next slide, please. Okay, with Automation API, we are continuing the cadence that you used to. So we have new job types. We're planning to have PeopleSoft and ZOS. SLA and calendars will be added, import, export, update, add, remove parameters in deploy descriptor. In the site standard, we will add the import, export to JSON, site standard policies, and site standard simulation. Next one. Okay. So here on the control, monitor, and optimize production, we have several themes. The first one is the workflow insight. So the workflow insight is a new add-on that is planned to be released together with ControlM V20 Fixspec 2 around October 2021 timeframe. It will allow customers to improve and optimize the ControlM landscape and the business processes that ControlM orchestrate. And here we're referring to measuring critical business workflow health and robustness over time, and to understand the impact of ongoing changes, expose runtime degradation of critical workflows, inefficiencies and improvement opportunities, measure capacity growth by monitoring workflows, historical trends and peak volumes, and many other things. So I can talk a lot about workflow insight. What I want you to understand is first that we have now again beta programs, so you can work with the relevant product manager. So if you're interested in workflow insight, please set a discussion with us, and we will happy to demo. We're happy to go through the details. I can tell you that the metrics are being saved on Elasticsearch repository. We are using Kibana as a visualization layer. There is no effect on ControlM production performance. It's designed to handle any ControlM usage volume. We are providing high availability and disaster recovery. We're keeping the metrics up to 5 years, and we are supplying also enterprise security level in terms of authorization and authentication, and I'm referring to SSL, LDAP integration, and more. So again, we would love to talk with you about workflow insight. Please don't hesitate and set a discussion with us. Next one, please. Okay, so this is something that we have in every release, is the security. Okay, so it's an ongoing effort, and you know, it's a continuous focus to implement up-to-date security methods and authorization packages for both things like API, web interface, cloud integration. And I can give you an example. The example of when we introduced the AWS CM on I think it was version 19, we didn't have so many authentication mechanism for cloud services. So we do understand that there is evolvement and we need to refresh. And you know, sometimes it takes time, but for the AWS, we have added now the YAML authentication, and we are aware of the proxy configuration that you want to get, and all of these enhancements that you're asking on the CM. This is something that we're working on, of course, according to prioritization that we're making. So on V21, we will add the ability to allow automation API or admin or users to use their own tokens. We will support Azure Access Key. IDP will be supported using SAML2 authentication, TLS 1.2. And here again, I need to put in brackets that it's only EM and CTM. I know that you want this capability to be evident also on CM for database. We have it in a backlog, but this is not planned for V21. This is a huge effort, and I hope that it will be on one of the next cycles post V21. But TLS 1.2 support for Oracle will be evident for both EM and ControlM on V21. RBA support for host group. This is something that was missing on 20, and support for DBO password via Kerberos. Next slide, please. New microservices. So here we are talking about breaking the new monolith into new microservices. So this is something that you will not feel on your day-to-day. So it's more like an infrastructure. On scheduling, we have two nice enhancements. The first one is reference folder. And what is reference folder is allow from subfolder to reference an existing smart folder or job during the definition phase. At runtime, what will happen, the reference smart folder content or the reference job will be ordered into the subfolder that reference them. So in addition, customers will be able to override their reference folder variables values to allow dynamic execution. We have also post-processing based on variable values, and we have also ControlM workload archiving high availability. So we will add the ability to install additional workload archiving server that will supply a high availability. So this is more or less what is planned in terms of scheduling. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so I think that Wojciech covered all the SaaS parts. So I think that it's a little bit redundant. So
Maya, there was a question about the API deploying at the job level instead of the folder level. Can you elaborate on that?
Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, deploying at the job level instead of a folder level, is it still on the pipeline, or it is actually something that is going to be done?
Well, I think that this is something that we'll need to check with the owner. I would love to get an email, and I will check it, and I will get back to the person who asked the question. In general, this is something that will have to be checked with Amit, who is the API owner.
Perfect. Thanks, Maya. Rashad, we'll get back to you on that. We'll definitely get that information through to you once we've got it. Okay. I think we're up at the 11:30 mark. I'd like to say a big thank you to the BMC team for taking us through the different areas of focus, as well as the roadmap for ControlM. Thank you, Maya. We'll be adding a feedback link to the chat site. We'd love to hear your comments, some areas of improvement. You know how that works. Please, if there's any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're absolutely available to set up a session with you guys and run through any of your requirements and expectations. On that note, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you for joining again. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful rest of